Yes. So I'm introducing you to my final V75 strategy. It's all made up and it's a winner. It's a winner, this one. So I need a clear chart. V75, it now knows me well. So the strategy starts from the 1 hour time frame. Well, I'm going to be needing my EMAs. Exactly. So it starts from the 1 hour time frame. Then the first thing that we're going to be looking for are zones. It's an H1 zone, like this one, right there, and also like that one, right here, and also like this one, right here, and also like this one, but this one got broke. It was broken. It was invalidated. But something is like that on the H1 time frame. Let me check if the sound is okay. So now that I've shown you the zones, Tazua, I'm speaking to myself because this is for me. Yes, and also like this one, but this one got invalidated. Right. So that's the first step. The first step is looking for these zones. These zones are the critical major reason for our strategy, the critical major key for strategy. So critical major key for strategy, for my strategy. So now that I have my zones, I now switch to the M15 time frame to look for the trade, right? Yes. So let me go back to the H1. So I'm going to be indicating where exactly the zone is and also where exactly the zone is, so that I can see when price enters it and price exits it. I can see when price enter it on the lower time frame and when price exit it on the higher time frame, on the lower time frame still. Exactly. The first leg, the zone with the candles that make up the zone. So I'm now certain that the candles that make up the zones, let me look for a circle. The candles that make up the zone are within this are within this circle that I've just drew right here. These are the candles that I want. Exactly. Okay, let me just switch back to the H1 and use these instead of the lines that I've drawn here. Let me copy it. So this is the most powerful strategy ever in the game. I am 100% sure it's going to make me my tuition, soft life for myself and my family. Yes, and get everything that I lost back. Like so. So let's switch down to the 15 minute time frame. So they are equally important. None is more important than the other. So they are equally important for the strategy. So let me start with this one. This one is the one that I made up the strategy using. So I now know that my zone is within this circle, right? But then from my rules, the first rule is having the zones on the H1 time frame, right? Then the second rule is that we only trade in line with the H1 13 EMA or the M15 or the M15 50 EMA. this red line right here, meaning that so long price is under it, we are looking for sells, and when price is above it, we are now looking for buys, right? Simple like that. It's simple as that. So now for us to make money to enter trades, now we then switch down to the M15 time frame. So we know on the M15 we know that the H1 13 EMA is the 50 EMA right here. So long price is below this 50 EMA, we're looking for sell trades only. So we look for M15 zone and M15 zone and a trade. M15 zone trade. M15 zone trade. That's the motto. M15 zone trade. M15 zone trade. So the trade will be entered here since already the 13 EMA. So M15 zone 13 EMA trade. Okay, let me write it down. It's not. Let me open another page. M15 zone trade. Then after the M15 zone, we now look at the 13 EMA on the H1. 13 EMA. So this 13 EMA on the H1, the M50, the 50 EMA on the, which is the 50 EMA on the M15, is for our market structure and directional bias. Is for market structure. It is going to determine whether we are looking for buys on the M15 or sells. On the M15 like this, right? So long price is under so long on the M15 time frame, price is below the 50 EMA, we are only looking for sell trades. And so long price is, even if the trade is confirmed, even if the buy is confirmed by a 13 EMA break on the M15, so long it is below the 50 EMA, we don't consider it as a trade. We never consider it as a trade. We never take it as a trade. Even if there is a zone on the M15 time frame, we don't take the trade. We don't take the trade. Just because it is below what the 50, because it is below the EMA 50 EMA on the 15-minute time frame. So that's why we're not taking the trade. The directional bias, the market structure is not allowing us to take the trade. But we then look for a zone on the M15. We then look for a zone on the M15. We then look for zone M15 zone. position, zone or position in line with the market structure. In line with the market structure, which is the EMA 50 or EMA 50 on M15 or 13 EMA on H1. So even if there is a zone on the H1 time frame, but so long the market structure has not yet confirmed it, we don't take it. Instead, we keep on taking our trades in line with the market structure, provided there is a zone on the M15 and the 13 EMA is confirmed on the 13 EMA. Provided there's a zone on the M15 and also there is trend line break or channel break on the M15. So final confirmation. So this is one example. So we see that there is our zone right here, right? Then we wait for the 13 EMA to get broken, then we make our trade here against the H1 zone. We can do that because we are confident, because the market structure has not yet been invalidated. Then the price then pushes against my trade and closes above the 13 EMA, forcing me to exit the trade. Then I'll exit here with a loss, but then I will not enter a buy. Because the market structure, which is the 50 EMA on the M15, has not yet confirmed the trade. So I'll not take for a buy. Instead, I'll look for another sell if there is any opportunity of a sell, and that is, I'll be looking for my zone. And my trend line break, channel break on the M15 time frame. On the 15 minute, supply and demand zone. That's the first one. These are things that I look for on the M15 time frame in order for me to take a trade before the confirmation that will be made by the M15, by the EMA 13 on the 15-minute time frame. Supply and demand zone, trend line, channel break. So long after I notice a zone and price does not bounce from that zone and go on to cross over the 13 EMA on the H1 time frame. So let me start again. So long after I notice an H1 zone, right, and that H1 zone does not allow price or does not get bounced by the price, such that the price go on to cross over the 13 EMA on the H1 time frame. We are never going to be taking a trade from that zone. Instead, we'll be continuing to look for a trade on the M15 time frame. Like so. So moving on to the other examples. So from this point here, so I'm assuming that I made this circle a bit bigger. So moving on, so from this zone the buy would have been perfect, because why? Because the 50 EMA right here is telling us to look for buys on the M15, and looking for a buy from the M15 will keep on telling us that, will be telling me to buy here from here, because the zone right here, because of the 15-minute zone right here and the 13 EMA on the M15 right here. Those are the triggers, those are the things that will give me triggers to continue to take buys, because what, the 50 EMA is way far off and it has not been broken or tempered from the zone here that got from this other zone that got invalidated. The reason was because first of all, there was no need to look for sells since the 50 EMA on the M15 was not broken. Instead, there was every reason to continue to look for buys. So there was a beautiful zone right here on the M15 that was bounced off perfectly with something almost like a morning star, and a trade was supposed to be placed right here and all the way to the upside. Moving on to the other zones, the other H1 zones right down from this one. So since price from this area, this one was a choppy area, it's a choppy area, and once price grows above here, we look for a trade here, and all the way up here, and then there's no trade. So actually there wasn't trades here in this region here. There wasn't really trades. I don't know if I took any, but there wasn't really trades. It was a very choppy area. So moving on to this area. So now from this area right here, where we can see that price closed above the 50 EMA and the 13 EMA, bouncing off from this zone on the M15 right here. Would have taken a buy here. So in other words, the EMAs are more powerful than the zones. That's what I'm discovering right now. That's what I'm discovering and seeing right now. So there's a zone right here. A trade will be placed from this area, and there's a zone right here, and a trade will be placed again from this area, but then it is going to come to invalidate us. It is going to come to invalidate us here. I actually lost here. I actually lost some money here on this trade. Trade gets invalidated here, but then because the 50 EMA has not yet been broken, so we are not expecting to see any sales. But then we have discovered that there is now a zone right here, but then we continue to look for buys. Why? Because it has not yet been invalidated. Then make a trade right here, right? Then, and it is also confirmed by it having a zone, so maybe add another, however we wonder, because we are continuing to look for buys no matter what. Why? Because the 50 EMA is far off, but even though we are entering a demand zone right here, we don't care. Why? Because the 50 EMA is far off, and we have confirmation of a zone on the M15, and on the end of the we have confirmation of a zone on the M15 and the 13 EMA, and the 13 EMA are enough confirmation. 13 EMA is on, and 13 EMA is on, and 13 EMA 15 EMA zone, and 13 EMA break on the 15 EMA. Those are the two confirmations that we just need on the M15. Then we trade it into the zone right here. Then price rejects it with a something we might say an evening star. Then this time it invalidates our trades and tell us to get out of all the position, because it has crossed against the 13 EMA on the M15 time frame, and we expect you to exit trades but not to enter sales. That's so beautiful and important to know. We are being asked to exit but not to enter sales. We are not able to enter sales. Why? Because the 13 EMA again has not been invalidated. The 13 EMA on the H1 time frame, which is the 50 EMA on the 13 EMA, has not been invalidated, so we are not expected to take any trade. Instead, we are going to what? To wait now. Wait or look for buys again. But then there are no buys. There is a zone here, but we can't buy. Why? Because it never gave us what we're looking for until the zone gets invalidated, and we ended up deleting it because it didn't give us what we really were looking for, which was the cross of the 13 EMA, which was the cross of the 13 EMA right there, which is the cross of the 13 EMA right here, which we then get, but then the zone would have been invalidated, so we now deleted from the point it was invalidated. We deleted then we get a zone. But now this is important. We can't take a trade here, even though we have a zone on the M15, and we then even get what's it called, breakthrough, but then it was invalidated already. So let's just say let's say it wasn't invalidated, the zone wasn't invalidated. We can't say that we can't take it as a trade. Why? Because the price went on to close above the 13 MA and the 50 MA, but then price went back in and closing below the 13 MA and the 13 MA and the 50 MA on the M15 time frame. But then this was invalidated. Yeah, it was invalidated. Maybe let's try this one. And this one is worse because now price is way far off under the 50 MA, and from this point onwards we're now looking for what we call sells. We're not looking for trades in the other direction now. Looking for trades in the other direction only now. Let's just see if the M30 would have been different in terms of zones. No, it wasn't. Beautiful, isn't it? So now we're now looking for what? Sells. Because of what? Because of the 50 EMA right here. So we then go on to move with the 50 EMA, showing us the direction and everything. And now we're just looking for zone. We're just looking for on the M15 trend line break, 13 EMA confirmation trade, trend line break. We're just looking for channel. Now we're just looking for channel break or trend line break or zone respect or zone supply and demand zone respect or bounce, then 13 EMA confirmation, then we trade it in that direction. Then we continue all the way up to all the way down to the point where our M15 now gets invalidated, and we start looking for buying opportunity, and which is the H1 zone. Now look for the H1 zone. And we now look for the H1 zone or the H1 zone or M15 zone along with trend lines or channel break, or M15 zone or channel break or trend line break. Then we enter the trade beautifully. Sounds bad with the EMA break. And do this, we exit. Buy all the way up to here. Then I have to buy all the way up to here. We then look to you get a zone here. It's a zone on the H1, I'm sure. You now know that there is a zone. You now know that there is a zone right here, right? Then we are now looking for price, but we're still looking for buys though. Yeah, we're still looking for buys, but then there are no actual reasons for us to buy in this area. The last buy we could have taken would have been from this point per se, but along with this there was no longer any reason for us to buy. Why? Also because there is also what, an H1 zone right here, so taking a buy would be so nonsensical. And there's another H1 zone right here again. Let me switch to the M15 now and see. and C. A 2-minute zone power, bro. So yeah, we could have taken it to the up a bit, but then no adding positions because it would have sunken us. Then exit when it crosses and start expecting and looking for sells when price closes below the 13 and the 50 EMA. So from this point, when I see consolidation, we sort of like go in line with go on the side of the zone because of looking for sell, because the easier zone. So we start looking for zones and confirmations for us to what? To also consider price going to the downside in this area. So moving on, did I talk about this one that failed me right now? Okay, let me just talk about it again. I think I didn't go in deep, so this just let me just show the losses that I had, the entry points of the losses I had. Yes, so firstly, did I try to enter a buy? Oh yeah, I tried to enter a buy using this M15 zone, which was right and correct according to the strategy, but then I was invalidated by this break right here, then which is fine, which is so fine and so in line, which is so deserving to take the loss and move on. And once price invalidated the zone, the M15 zone, it went on to hold back, trap here, and come to close back into another zone right here. But this time in the zone, now there is an H1 zone, but this time there was an H1 zone happening, right? Then on the H1, but the H1 zone was not going to be powerful. Yes, we are considering that we might be selling any moment, but then it is not still powerful because the 50 EMA on the M15 has not been crossed over, right? So there is no point and no valid reason to take sells, even if the price perfectly drops and crosses over the 13 EMA on the M15 diagram. Rather, should have focused on buying again. Entering the moment it closed back up, there was no absolute confirmation. Can I say this was a confirmation? No, can't even say it was a confirmation. Yeah, it wasn't a confirmation. The support become resistance. It couldn't have been, can't be. So once price gets into this zone, on the M15 time frame, instead of taking sells, I should have been not buying as well. I was not supposed to be selling and not buying in this region. Selling was only supposed to happen only after the break of this point. At the moment price started entering in this area is only when I should have been considering selling, and buying I should have been considering to buy the moment price broke. They've broken into the zone again and above the 13 MA. But yeah, this is powerful. Clipping hands for myself and going to close the video. 34 minutes. Beautiful.